The planet Varan 5 was quiet. Too quiet. Captain Rian Holt, the only human explorer in this strange sector, walked slowly through a glowing purple forest. Soft dust rose with every step he took. The air smelled like metal and rain, and the giant trees hummed like they were alive. Rian checked his scanner. No signs of life, it said again, but his instincts told him the scanner was wrong. He moved forward, brushing aside long blue vines that wrapped around the branches like living snakes. The forest was beautiful, but something felt strange today. Even the usual buzzing insects were silent. Rian felt like someone or something was watching him from the shadows. Then he heard it. A small sound, weak, soft, almost like a child crying. But not a human child. Rian froze. Another cry echoed. This time clearer, a mix of a whistle and a sob. His heart beat faster. He looked around with sharp eyes. The sound came again, from behind a group of twisted roots. Rian slowly walked toward. Hello, is someone there? He whispered. No answer. He knelt beside the roots and carefully pushed them aside. There, curled up like a frightened animal, was a tiny alien child. Its skin glowed blue, like moonlight. Small white lines like symbols or tattoos moved slowly across its skin, changing shape every few seconds. Its eyes were huge, bright like crystal water, full of fear. The child flinched when it saw Rian. Rian raised both hands gently. It's okay, I won't hurt you. The child stared at him, confused, but also hopeful. Slowly, Rian reached out. The child hesitated, then placed its small hand into Rian's palm. Its fingers were light and warm, like touching soft fire. The moment their hands touched, the symbols on the child's skin flashed brighter. Rian didn't understand, but he knew one thing clearly. This child was alone, scared and lost. Looked around the forest. There were no houses, no roads, no signs of its family or village. How did you get here? Rian asked softly. The child only pointed deeper into the forest. Rian heard another sound then, something heavy stepping on dry leaves. He stood up fast, looking around. The forest behind him was dark, shadows moving like waves. Suddenly the scanner beeped loudly. Large life form detected. Multiple, approaching. Rian swallowed. This was bad. He lifted the child in his arms. The child clung to him tightly, shaking. Don't worry. I'll protect you, Rian whispered. The trees around him rattled, though there was no wind. Something big was moving between them. Rian stepped back carefully. His boots crushed glowing flowers under his feet. Then he saw them, huge footprints in the dirt. Fresh, very fresh. Much larger than any human foot. And there were many prints surrounding them in a rough circle. Whatever left these prints had been watching him for a while. Rian felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He turned slowly. Nothing there, but the feeling of being watched grew stronger. Heavier, like eyes pressing into his back. The child whimpered and buried its face in his jacket. Rian held it close. It's okay, I've got you. He moved carefully through the forest, following the direction the child had pointed earlier. The trees twisted overhead, blocking most of the light. The deeper they went, the darker it became. Every few minutes, Rian heard the sound of something stepping behind him. Not rushing, not attacking. Just following. Observing. Waiting. He tried not to show fear. The child was already terrified. He needed to stay calm, but inside, he knew this was no normal situation, no random accident, no simple lost child. As he walked, he noticed more signs: broken branches, strange marks on rocks, glowing trails on the ground. All of them pointed toward one truth. Something had been moving through this forest, searching. And Rian feared it wasn't searching for him. It was searching for the child he was carrying. The forest became silent again. Not natural silence, but dangerous silence. Like the world was holding its breath. Rian whispered, "Who's after you, little one?" The child looked up with wide glowing eyes. then pointed behind Rian. Rian slowly turned his head. His heart stopped. In the shadows stood 3 tall figures, armored, glowing, watching him without blinking. They stepped out of the darkness and surrounded him. Captain Rian Holt stood frozen as the 3 tall figures stepped out from the shadows of the glowing forest. Their armor shimmered like liquid silver, shifting colors with every movement. Each figure held a long staff with a bright circle at the top, pulsing like a heartbeat. The alien child in Rian's arms trembled. Its fingers tightened around his jacket. Rian raised one hand slowly. "I don't want trouble," he said in a calm voice. His other arm stayed wrapped around the child protectively. The aliens didn't speak. They only stared with shining yellow eyes. Then, all at once, they moved, not charging, not attacking, but forming a perfect triangle around him. Each one stood the exact same distance from him, as if measuring him. Rian felt a cold sweat roll down his neck. They're not soldiers, he realized. They're trackers. Hunters. One of them finally lowered its staff. A soft humming sound filled the air. A beam of light scanned Rian and the child from head to toe. The child cried out in fear and pressed its face against Rian's chest. Rian stepped back, shielding the little one. The aliens reacted instantly. They raised their staffs in warning. Rian froze again. A tense silence stretched between them. Finally, the tallest alien stepped forward. Its voice sounded like 2 people speaking at once, one deep, one whispering. "Why do you carry the air?" Rian blinked. "Air?" He looked down at the small glowing child. Nothing about the little one looked royal. Just lonely and scared. "I found him alone," Rian answered honestly. "He was hurt. I only want to help." The aliens exchanged a look, quick, sharp, confused. The tallest one spoke again. "You expect us to believe that a human returns the air freely?" Rian didn't understand, but he sensed danger rising. Before he could reply, the child suddenly reached one glowing hand toward the tall alien. The alien stepped back, almost afraid. Rian noticed something change in their posture. Respect or shock? He whispered to the child. "Do you know them?" The child nodded weakly. The forest around them trembled, as if reacting to this moment. Second alien tapped its staff on the ground. The trees above shifted, opening a path of glowing plants and floating lights. A road formed, leading deeper into the forest. The tallest alien spoke again. "You will come, now." It didn't sound like a request. Rian knew he had no choice. He adjusted his grip on the child and followed the aliens. As they walked, the path pulled them deeper into territory no human had ever seen. Strange floating stones circled above the road, each one humming softly. The glowing plants leaned toward the child, almost bowing. Rian realized something important. This child is more than special. This child is sacred to them. But why choose him, an outsider, to carry it? The alien group marched quickly. Their movements were silent, perfect, almost unnatural. Rian tried to stay alert, but the forest was full of distractions. The lights grew brighter, the air grew warmer. And the feeling of being watched never left. Rian kept hearing whispers. Not from the aliens, but from the forest itself. Soft voices, echoes. Like the trees were judging him. After several minutes, the path opened into a wide clearing. Rian's breath caught. Ahead of them stood an alien village built inside giant glowing tree trunks. Bridges of light connected them. Waterfalls fell upward instead of down. Crystal shapes floated in the sky, reflecting rainbow colors over everything. It was the most beautiful place Rian had ever seen, but the beauty didn't make him feel safe. Hundreds of eyes watched from every corner of the village. Tall figures, small figures, all glowing, all staring at the human holding their precious child. Whispers filled the air. "Human. Why is he here? He carries the air." Rian's heart pounded. The aliens led him to the center of the village. A Large circular stone platform with carvings that glowed faint blue. The moment Rian stepped onto it, the carvings brightened under his feet. The child stirred in his arms, its eyes glowed, brighter than before. The villagers gasped. The tallest alien slammed his staff into the ground. A low vibration shook the air. Then, he pointed directly at Rian. This human brings the air back alive, without fear, without demand. He paused. This must be judged. The crowd whispered louder. A deep horn sounded from the largest tree. Its doors opened slowly, and from inside, an ancient alien walked out, taller, older, covered in long glowing marks like rivers of light. The entire village bowed. Rian didn't know who this elder was. But when the elder locked eyes with him, Rian felt something strange, like the elder could see every thought in his mind. The elder raised a hand. Human, you do not understand what you have done. The ancient elder stepped closer to Captain Rian Holt, his long glowing markings moving slowly like living rivers. When he spoke, the entire village fell silent. You do not understand what you have done, human. Rian swallowed. I only helped a lost child. At that, the villagers gasped as if he had spoken forbidden words. The elder raised a hand. The glowing symbols on the stone platform brightened under Rian's boots. The air thickened. The wind slowed. The elder's voice echoed loudly. This child is the heir of our tribe, the one we lost during the sacred rite, the one who must never be touched by outsiders. Rian felt the child tighten its grip around him. He held the little one closer, protective and calm. I didn't know, he said softly. He was alone, scared. Anyone would have. The elder cut him off sharply. Not anyone. And not everyone would risk their life. The crowd whispered. Some looked fearful. Some looked angry. Others looked curious. Before Rian could speak again, several armored guards stepped forward. They wore heavier armor than the trackers, dark, sharp, and pulsing with red light. One guard raised his staff and pointed it at Rian. Human Rian Holt, by the law of our tribe, you are under arrest. Two guards moved behind him. Rian instinctively shifted his stance. Arrest? For helping a child? But before he could say anything, the child in his arms suddenly cried out. Its glowing tattoos flashed. Bright white, so bright the guards stepped back. The elder lifted a hand again. Do not harm him. The air reacts to his presence. This sentence changed everything in the crowd. Their whispers became stronger, confusion, fear, surprise. The elder looked into Rian's eyes, calm but firm. You will explain your actions, and your heart will be tested. Rian had no idea what that meant, but he was in no position to argue. He nodded slowly. He gently lowered the child to the stone platform. The little one didn't want to let go, but the elder extended his arms. With visible hesitation, the child moved toward him. Rian felt oddly empty the moment the child left his arms. Guards surrounded him and pushed his wrists together. A glowing band of light formed instantly, locking his hands. It didn't hurt. It just hummed softly, warm but strong like metal made of energy. Two guards walked beside him, guiding him toward the edge of the platform. The village people stepped aside as he passed. Some stared with suspicion, others with wonder. One alien woman whispered loudly, "Why would the heir cling to a human?" Another replied, "Perhaps he saved the heir during the rite." A third voice, "Or perhaps he stole him." Rian ignored their guesses. He kept his eyes forward, watching the elder carry the child gently toward a large glowing tree. The guards led Rian into a long circular hut made of stone. The moment he entered, the door sealed behind him with a flash of blue light. Inside was dark, except for a floating orb in the center. The orb circled Rian slowly like a curious pet. The soft hum of the light restraints filled the room. Rian took a breath. He tried to stay calm. I helped the child. That's all I did. Why does it feel like the whole world is judging me? The orb drifted closer. A beam of light scanned across his face. Then the elder's voice echoed through the room, though he was not physically present. Tell me, human, why did you carry the air? Rian lifted his chin. Because he was alone. Because he was crying. Because no child should suffer. Silence. The orb pulsed gently, as if thinking. Then the elder spoke again. And you expected no reward? No power? Rian shook his head. I didn't know who he was. I just saw someone who needed help. Another long silence. The orb shifted colors. Finally, the elder said, your words must be judged, your actions must be tested, and your heart must be revealed. Rian frowned. Tested how? The elder didn't answer. The orb dimmed. The entire room darkened. Then the floor beneath. Rian began to lower slowly like an elevator sinking into the earth. As the darkness swallowed him, he heard only one sentence. If your intentions are true, you will survive what comes next. The chamber sank deeper into the ground, the light fading until Rian stood in almost complete darkness. The air grew cold. Something moved behind him, something big. Rian turned, and his breath stopped. A giant shadow. Creature shaped like his worst fear stepped into the dim light. Eyes burning white. It growled, shaking the room, and Rian understood. His real trial had just begun. The chamber shook as the shadow creature stepped into the half-light. Its body looked like smoke and claws. Its shape kept changing, sometimes like a beast, sometimes like a human figure. Its eyes glowed bright white, staring straight into Captain Rian Holt's soul. Rian felt his heartbeat thunder in his chest. He whispered to himself, this is not real. Not fully. But the creature's growl felt real. The cold air felt real. The fear rising in his stomach felt painfully real. The elder's voice echoed from somewhere unseen. What you face now is your own fear. The words were calm, but the meaning was sharp. Rian stepped back slowly. The glowing restraints on his wrists vanished, melting into thin air. He was free. Or maybe the test required him to be. The creature moved closer, its claws scraping the stone floor. Every scrape sounded like metal tearing apart. Rian raised his hands to defend himself, but the creature didn't attack. Instead, it circled him, sniffing the air like a predator studying prey. Then it spoke. Its voice was deep, broken. Familiar. Human. Why protect the air? Rian stiffened. The creature's voice sounded strangely like his own inner voice, doubting, questioning, testing him. Because he needed help, Rian said, keeping his tone steady. That's it. That's all. The creature tilted its head, smoke swirling around its body. But you could have left him. Why did you choose danger? Rian breathed slowly. Because doing nothing would have been worse. The creature stopped circling. Its smoky body rose taller, towering over him. And if helping him cost your life, would you still do it? This time, Rian didn't answer right away. He thought of the moment he found the child, alone, crying, lost in a hostile forest. He remembered the fear in those crystal blue eyes. Then he looked at the shadow blocking his path. Yes, I would, he said firmly. A scared child is a scared child, even if it's not human. The creature roared, shaking the room. The darkness thickened around Rian. The stone walls hummed with power, but the roar wasn't anger. It sounded like release. Smoke peeled away from the creature's body. It shrank, slowly becoming smaller, gentler. Its claws faded, its growl softened. A moment later, it looked almost harmless. Then, it asked one final question. Would you still help, even if no one ever thanked you? Rian didn't blink. I didn't help for thanks. Another roar echoed, but this time, the shadow creature dissolved completely. The smoke lifted upward, disappearing like breath on cold glass. The chamber brightened. Rian took a deep breath and closed his eyes for a moment. His legs felt heavy. His chest felt tight. But the fear inside him was gone. A soft sound echoed through the air. Clapping. Light bloomed across the floor, and the chamber rose upward, lifting him back toward the surface. As he ascended, images flashed around him, memories not his own. Ceremony of light, a village of glowing trees. The small alien child reaching out for his hand. Then the floor stopped rising. A door slid open. Warm light spilled inside. Rian stepped out into a new hall, larger, brighter, filled with floating orbs of blue fire. At the far end stood the ancient elder, holding the alien child. The child saw Rian and ran to him, glowing symbols flashing with joy. Rian knelt and lifted the little one into his arms. The elder watched silently, then nodded. The heir trusts you. Even after fear and separation, he reaches for you. The villagers gathered outside the hall. Their faces showed confusion and awe. The elder raised his staff. You passed the trial of intent. Rian blinked. I didn't fight anything. I just spoke honestly. The elder's eyes softened. The greatest battles are inside, and only pure intent survives them. Rian felt the weight of his words. Intent, heart, motive. That was what they tested, not strength. The elder stepped closer, his glowing lines pulsing like heartbeat. You risked your safety for a child you did not know. You protected him when you believed danger was near. You expected nothing in return. That is rare, even among our own. The villagers murmured, unsure whether to fear him or respect him. The elder continued, but your trial is not complete, human. Rian stiffened. There's more? The elder turned toward a massive circular doorway at the back of the hall. Strange symbols glowed around it, brighter than the stars outside. Next, the elder said, you will face the trial of truth. Rian felt the child squeeze his shoulder gently. Truth. He wasn't sure what that meant, but he knew one thing clearly. The deeper he went into this tribe's world, the less this felt like a mistake, and the more it felt like destiny. The circular doorway slid open with a deep, ancient rumble. A cold breath of wind rushed out, as if the darkness inside had been waiting for someone. Waiting for Rian. The elder pointed toward the entrance. Inside lies the cave of judgment. Rian felt the alien child now resting on his shoulder go tense. Its glowing tattoos dimmed with fear. The small hands clung to his collar. Rian whispered softly, it's all right. I'm with you. But even he wasn't sure if his words were fully true. The darkness inside the cave looked alive, like something was breathing in there. Two guards opened the path. The elder raised his staff. Only the one being judged may enter the cave. Rian looked down at the child. The child's huge blue eyes stared back. Does he have to stay? Rian asked. The elder nodded once. The heir goes with you. The cave must test both your fates together. Rian took a deep breath. He stepped forward, entering the darkness. As soon as they crossed the threshold, the world shifted. The air turned thick and heavy. The stone walls glowed faintly with shifting symbols, strange lines that slithered like worms carved into rock. The path ahead was narrow, lit only by a soft bluish glow from the child's skin. Every step echoed, though the cave felt endless and empty. The child looked around nervously. Rian held it tighter. Suddenly, the cave whispered. Not loud, not clear, just a soft hiss inside Rian's mind. Rian Holt. He stopped. The child looked up, confused. The whisper came again, stronger this time. Why have you come? Rian's throat tightened. He wasn't sure how to answer a voice he couldn't see. I didn't come for power, he said into the darkness. I came because a child needed help. The whisper echoed like a ripple of wind. Words are simple, truth is harder. The cave floor lit up beneath them. A symbol appeared, circular, glowing, pulsing like a heartbeat. The child suddenly slipped from Rian's arms and floated gently into the center of the glowing symbol. Rian panicked. No, hey! But the child wasn't crying, just staring as if frozen in a trance. Rian rushed forward, but the cave reacted instantly. A wall of shimmering air rose between them. Rian slammed his hands against it. Nothing moved. "Let me through." The cave whispered again. "Your fear is loud, but your truth must be louder." The ground around Rian darkened. A fog rose from the floor, swirling upward. Within the fog, shapes appeared, shadows of memories he had tried to forget. His worst moments, his deepest regrets, every failure he carried inside his heart. He saw himself failing missions, losing friends, standing helpless while others suffered. Cave spoke. "You say you protect the lost, but who protected those you left behind?" Rian clenched his jaw. "I did everything I could." The cave's voice grew colder. "Did you?" The shadows twisted into forms, people he once knew, faces he couldn't save. They stepped toward him, whispering things he had buried long ago. Rian stepped back, shaking. "I couldn't save everyone." The cave did not stop. "But you saved the air. Why?" Rian looked up, eyes burning. "Because he was alone. Because he needed someone. Because no innocent should suffer. If I can stop it." The shadows paused. The cave asked softly, "Even if the tribe hates you?" Rian nodded, double quotes, "Yes." "Even if they punish you?" "Yes." "Even if it costs you your life?" Rian's voice didn't waver. "Yes." At that answer, the shadows broke apart like smoke in a storm. The fog vanished. The shimmering wall dissolved. Child fell forward, and Rian caught him in his arms. The glowing symbol on the ground brightened, turning gold. The cave whispered one last time, "Your truth is seen. Your heart accepted." The cave's final vision, just when Rian thought the trial was done. The cave lit with powerful golden light. A new image formed on the far wall, bright and ancient. It showed a tall figure wearing the glowing crown stone. Standing at the head of the tribe, the alien people gathered around. And beside the crowned figure stood the small alien child, now grown. Rian stared. "Is that supposed to be me?" The cave whispered, "Fate chooses its own path." Before he could question it, the cave door behind him opened by itself. Warm light spilled inside. The elder and the villagers waited outside, watching him in silence. Rian stepped out of the cave holding the child, both glowing faintly with the cave's golden light. The elder bowed deeply. "You have passed the cave of judgment." The villagers gasped. Some bowed. Some whispered. Some stepped back in awe. The elder raised his staff high. "And now, the final truth will be revealed." The moment Captain Rian Holt stepped out of the cave of judgment, the entire village fell silent. The warm golden light still shimmered on his skin, as if the cave itself had marked him. The alien child clung to his shoulder, its glowing symbols now brighter and calmer, no longer afraid. The ancient elder stood at the front of the gathered crowd. The wind stirred gently, carrying the smell of glowing flowers. Every pair of alien eyes watched Rian with a mixture of fear, awe, and confusion. The elder raised his staff, and the forest seemed to bow with him. The cave has spoken, the air has chosen, and the truth must now be revealed. Rian swallowed hard. He wasn't sure he was ready for whatever this truth was. But running wasn't an option anymore. The villagers parted, forming a long path of glowing stones. The elder signaled Rian to follow. Rian stepped forward slowly. The child tightened its grip on him, but its face was peaceful, as if it already knew what was coming. The heart of the tribe at the end of the path stood, a massive tree taller than anything Rian had seen on any world. Its bark glowed silver. Its roots rose from the ground like giant stone arms. In the middle of the trunk, a circular door slowly opened. Inside, the air was warm and heavy. Soft light floated like fireflies. The elder guided Rian to the center of the chamber where a stone pedestal stood. On top of it rested a glowing crystal crown shape like interlocking branches. Rian frowned. Is that the crown stone you mentioned before? The elder nodded. Double quotes, yes. The crown of our chieftain. Only one with a pure heart can carry it without harm. Rian took a step back instinctively. Hold on. I'm not trying to be anyone's leader. The elder raised a hand. Let the truth speak before your fear does. Rian didn't argue. He simply stood still, hoping this wasn't about to become something too big for him to handle. The elder reveals the hidden history. The elder began to speak. Long before your species reached the stars, our tribe held a prophecy. It told of a wanderer, not of our blood, not of our world, who would carry the air with no greed in his heart. Rian blinked. A prophecy? About a human? Not human, the elder corrected gently, but someone from beyond our skies. A stranger who would show kindness without asking anything back. The hall lights shifted to deep blue, casting moving shadows on the walls. The elder continued. During the sacred rite, the heir must walk alone into the forest. He must be lost, to be found by destiny. Rian froze. Wait, you mean the child wasn't actually lost? The elder nodded slowly. No, the heir was not lost. He was placed where he needed to be. Rian felt his stomach drop. So you're telling me this was a test? Yes, a test to find our next chieftain. Rian stared at the elder in disbelief. The weight of the past days suddenly made sense, yet also felt impossible. But why? Me? I'm just an explorer. I'm not part of your people. The elder's glowing markings brightened. A leader is not chosen by blood, Rian Holt. A leader is chosen by heart. The child shifted in Rian's arms, gently placing a small glowing hand on Rian's cheek. The touch was soft. Trusting. The elder continued. When you found the heir, the forest watched you. The trackers watched you. Even the cave watched your soul. Rian felt the weight of unseen eyes around him. We saw you carry him with care, the elder said. We saw you shield him from danger. We saw your fear of death, but your refusal to abandon him. Rian opened his mouth to argue, but nothing came out. Everything the elder said was true. He had acted without thinking, without planning, just doing what felt right. The crown stones. Choice. The elder lifted the glowing crown stone from the pedestal. It floated, humming like a heartbeat. This crown chooses its bearer, not us. The villagers outside grew silent. The air vibrated with energy. Rian stepped back. I can't. I'm not a leader. I'm not even one of your people. The elder smiled, a rare, gentle expression. You are exactly what our people need. Someone who can unite worlds, not divide them. The crown stone drifted toward Rian. Its glow grew brighter, almost blinding. Rian covered his eyes. The child reached out and touched the crown with one small hand. A pulse of light filled the chamber, washing over Rian in the air like a wave of warmth. The crown stopped inches from Rian's forehead. The elder spoke. Accept this, and your destiny begins. Rian stared at the glowing crown floating before him. The entire tribe waited. Even the forest outside seemed to hold its breath. He whispered to himself, why do I feel like my whole life led me here? Before Rian could make a choice, the ground shook violently. A loud alarm echoed across the village. The lights in the chamber flickered. The elder's eyes widened. No, it is too soon. Smoke rose from outside. Screams echoed. The child gripped Rian tightly, trembling. The elder whispered. With fear for the first time, the enemy has returned, and they know the air leaves. The chamber shook again, harder than before. Dust fell from the giant silver tree's ceiling. Outside, alien voices shouted in panic. The glowing bridges of the village flickered like dying stars. Captain Rian Holt tightened his grip on the air. The child pressed its glowing face into his neck. Trembling, the ancient elder's voice was urgent. We are under attack. Rian's heart dropped. By who? The elders' markings dimmed with fear. Those who took the air, before the right. Those who wished to stop the prophecy. They have returned, to end it. Another explosion rattled the tree. A section of the village collapsed, sending glowing debris raining down. Villagers ran, grabbing children, calling for family, rushing for safety. Rian felt a surge of anger. He had seen war before. He had seen good people suffer. He wasn't going to let it happen again, not here. Not now. The enemy breaks through. The chamber doors blasted open with a shockwave of red energy. Rian shielded the air with his body as three tall armored figures walked in, darker, heavier, filled with rage. These were not the silver-armored trackers. These were warriors. Their armor burned with red fire, and their staffs were shaped like jagged claws. They marched forward with purpose. The lead warrior pointed at Rian. The air belongs to us. Rian stood tall, pushing the child behind him. Over my dead body. The warrior laughed, cruel and amused. That is the plan, human. Before the warrior could attack, the elder stepped forward and slammed his staff onto the floor. Light exploded outward, forming a protective barrier. You shall not harm them. The warriors pushed against the barrier, cracks forming instantly. The elder staggered. His age showed for the first time. His hands shook. He couldn't hold the shield for long. Rian knew the truth. If he did nothing, everyone in this chamber would die. He scanned the room. No weapons, no exit. No allies strong enough to stop the warriors. Except one thing. The crown stone. Still floating. Still glowing. Still choosing him. Rian turned to the elder. Give it to me. The elder's eyes widened. Rian Holt. Once you accept it, you cannot return to your old life. Rian didn't look away. If it protects the air, if it protects your people, then I don't need my old life. The elder stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. The barrier cracked again. A warrior roared. The crown stone pulsed with bright golden light and drifted toward Rian's forehead. Rian held his breath. The crown touched him, becoming the chieftain. A wave of blazing energy surged through Rian's body. He gasped as light wrapped around his arms, chest, and eyes. The symbols that once glowed on the hare's skin now appeared on Rian, bright, alive, powerful. The warriors froze. Shocked. The barrier shattered, but before they could attack, Rian stepped forward, his feet glowing with every step. His voice was no longer just human. It echoed like thunder and wind combined. You will not harm this child. You will not harm this tribe. The warrior leader growled. You think one human with tricks can stop us? Rian raised his hand. The light erupted. A blast of golden energy shot across the chamber, hitting all three warriors and throwing them back like they were weightless. Silence. Even. The elder stared in awe. The power didn't feel like magic. It felt like the forest. The tribe, the planet itself was flowing through Rian. The air ran to him, hugging his leg tightly. Rian placed a gentle glowing hand on the child's head. You're safe now. The final stand outside. More warriors flooded into the village. Fire spread across the bridges. People screamed. The sky darkened with smoke. Rian stepped forward. The elder called out, Rian Holt, what will you do? Rian turned, eyes glowing. Bright gold, what a leader should. He carried the air in one arm and marched outside. The entire village stopped when they saw him standing on the highest root of the giant tree, glowing like a sun in the darkness. The invading warriors froze. As well. This was not the weak human they expected. Rian lifted the air above his head. This child lives. His voice echoed across the village. And as long as I stand, this tribe will never fall. The golden crown shone like a star. The warriors trembled. The elder stepped beside him. Behold, the new chieftain. The villagers began to chant Rian's name, voices rising like a storm of hope. Rian felt their trust. He felt their fear, and he felt their belief in him. He raised his glowing hand. Golden light swept across the village like a wave extinguishing fires, healing wounds and throwing invading warriors into retreat. The enemy fled in terror, disappearing into the forest shadows, and for the first time, the village stood safe. The heir hugged Rian tightly. The elder bowed deeply. "You have united. U.S. Rian Holt, our future begins with you." Rian looked out across the glowing forest. He had come here alone, just an explorer. But now, he was something far greater, that he was the chieftain of an entire world. And deep inside he knew, this was only the beginning.